My name is Remy, a 45-year-old part-time housewife. Despite being exhausted from work and household chores every day, life was fulfilling. However, recently, my husband Taylor has been cold towards me, making me wonder if I did something wrong. Additionally, our 20-year-old college student son, Pashik, also stopped talking to me, making me think it's another phase of rebellion. Even though my son had become a well-behaved and good child after his rebellious phase, he's now treating me coldly at this age. So, even when I'm at home, I couldn't find peace or relaxation. One day, my husband and son expressed their desire to go mountain climbing.
I was part of the Young Wonderful Club in my youth, and outdoor activities seem to be popular again. I want to start mountain climbing to improve my health. Sounds cool. I'm interested in that too. The food at the summit must be delicious, right? Remy, want to come along? Well, I wouldn't mind taking you along, haha.
Sure. I felt a bit happy thinking my husband was being kind to me after a long time. Although I wasn't very knowledgeable about mountain climbing, I thought it could be a way to relieve stress, so I decided to give it a try. However, on the day of the mountain climbing, I suddenly couldn't go due to work. As a result, my husband and son went on their own. They planned to climb the mountain for a day and descend for another day. However, even after 3 or 4 days, they didn't return. Then, I received a call on my smartphone from my in-laws. My mother-in-law, furious, shouted at me. Where are they right now? They should have descended from the mountain already. Because of you, our son and grandchild became missing. What have you done? You invited them for mountain climbing, didn't you? The one who invited them was my husband. I considered going, but, in fact, I couldn't due to work. What? So, I didn't go. I'm at home right now. What does that mean? Why are you at home now? Well, suddenly I got called for work, and I couldn't go. So, I asked them to go without me. I finished work and just came back now. Huh? But they said they would stop by here once they descended from the mountain. I prepared a lot of food waiting for them. Don't complicate things. I thought something had happened. Oh, but maybe they're not on the mountain. Maybe they're somewhere else. Huh? What do you mean by that? Maybe overseas. When I was cleaning the room earlier, I noticed that my husband and son's passports were missing. What? My mother-in-law was quite surprised and raised her voice. I also noticed earlier while cleaning that my husband and son's passports were missing, so I just thought they might be overseas. But even if they went somewhere, where could it be? If my husband and son went overseas, I became curious about their purpose. It would be fine if it were just a trip, but why did they mention mountain climbing? It might be some kind of camouflage, and if that's the case, there must be some suspicious reason. I wondered if they were planning something dangerous and were going to escape. However, I couldn't believe that my husband and son would do such a thing. A week passed, and still, my husband and son didn't return. It's summer vacation for my son at university, but my husband should have work. I wondered how they could be away from home for such a long time. Of course, I filed a missing persons report with the police, but they couldn't be found. Maybe they'd become missing for real. But where could they be? If I had gone with them, this wouldn't have happened, would it? What should I do? Despite being treated coldly, my concern for my dear husband and son didn't change, and I couldn't stop worrying. Even while working, I found my mind constantly occupied with thoughts of my husband and son, making it difficult to focus. As a surgeon, if I lose concentration, it could lead to medical mistakes. Every time before surgery, I had to gather my strength, holding back the urge to cry. On that day, I couldn't go because there was an emergency surgery. If that surgery hadn't come up, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Because I'm a surgeon, I couldn't help but think my husband and son might be in a dangerous situation. It felt like my chest was about to burst. One day, I heard a strange story from a friend. It was such an outrageous tale that my eyes nearly popped out. I got angry, thinking, those idiots. What on earth are they up to? I won't forgive them anymore. After that, I went to my in-laws' house, where both my mother-in-law and father-in-law were surprised to hear my story. Although my mother-in-law usually had a somewhat unpleasant way of speaking, she wasn't inherently malicious. Perhaps she was just not good at socializing. My father-in-law, despite giving off an intimidating impression, seemed like a good person at heart. So that's what happened. I'm sorry, Remy. It's okay. Because of you, I thought Taylor and Kashik were in danger. I'm really sorry. No, it's fine. They probably lied to both you and me.
Even so, what a ridiculous story. If that's true, those two are idiots.
Yeah, I was quite surprised too.
Well, they'll probably come back eventually, and when they do, let's give them a piece of our minds.
Several days later, my husband and son returned home, acting as if nothing happened. Since I had received a prior notice, I pretended to be calm. As they were much later than initially planned, my husband started making excuses.
Oh, we decided to climb other mountains too, so we changed the plans last minute. Right, Kashik? Exactly, we'd become addicted to mountain climbing. So, we climbed a lot. And we even went to hot springs afterward. Ha ha ha, we've become very healthy. It feels so refreshing. I feel so refreshed. We made some great memories.
Well, I guess you did something bad, felt refreshed, and made good memories. You were conducting some suspicious seminar overseas.
Why would you say that?
You held a volunteer event to help underprivileged children in the Philippines or something, right? And you organized a questionable seminar in a high-end tower condo in Salcedo.
Well.
And you were recruiting interpreters who could speak English and Tagalog, right? My friend accidentally applied because she thought it was a legitimate opportunity. She has a friend who is half Filipino and fluent in both languages. She works as a freelance interpreter through crowdsourcing. She applied for the job after seeing it, but as she listened to the details, she found it suspicious. Apparently, they asked her to transfer $15,000 as membership fees. She wondered why an interpreter had to pay such fees.
That's the person who backed out at the end, right, Isa?
Yes, you nailed it. Isa is my friend. My husband, who is a company employee, had mentioned wanting to start a business before. It seems he came up with the idea of a fraudulent business. He pretended to conduct charity work in the Philippines and recruited online interpreters, but it was full of suspicion. My friend Isa, being half Filipino and fluent in both English and Tagalog, applied for the job thinking she could contribute to her mother's home country. However, when they asked her for a substantial membership fee up front, she felt uneasy and reached out to her Filipino friend, Andy. Isa had lived in the Philippines until elementary school, so she had many friends there. Andy, who could speak some languages, helped her investigate the strange seminar my husband and son were organizing. It was hearsay, but the general idea was as follows.
Thank you all for sympathizing with our cause. If you want to donate more, please register on my account and transfer the funds to the account afterward. We accept donations starting from $500. Thanks to your support, we can help the underprivileged children. Andy, thanks for volunteering. You can leave now. See you, Andy. Be sure to join us in our business again.
So, Andy, who heard the suspicious story from my husband and son, informed Isa, who then tipped me off about it. The victims were apparently mostly Americans who, wanting to do something for underprivileged children, paid $1,500 in advance. Moreover, there were about 50 of them, totaling a whopping $75,000. There was a possibility they might send more money after returning home, increasing the amount of damages. That foolish son of mine. I won't forgive him. Because of you saying that you were invited by Remy for mountain climbing, I believed it. I ended up hurling abuses at Remy since you didn't come back.
Mom. Kashik. Despite being a university student, what on earth are you doing? There's something wrong with your head. Grandpa. Why are you here? I knew you'd come back, so I was hiding, waiting for you.
I had contacted my in-laws as soon as my husband called me, and I had them come to the house. I felt sorry for them, but I wanted to surprise my husband and son, so I had them hide in the closet. The husband and son began to panic, offering embarrassing excuses.
But we held the seminar overseas. Therefore, U.S. laws don't apply. Yeah. We didn't commit any crimes in America. So, we shouldn't be held accountable.
Well, didn't you extort money from Americans in the U.S. with prepayments, and later, while abroad, ask them to pay more upon returning? Wouldn't U.S. laws apply in that case? Even if you committed a crime over there, you might be held responsible individually. Well, I'm not an expert, but either way, what you did was wrong. Why are you guys trying to justify it?
But we had no choice. I ran out of money.
What?
No matter how much you earn as a doctor, I thought if you found out I spent all the money and went broke, you'd divorce me.
Why did you end up going broke?
We went to nightclubs together, and seriously, the money ran out.
What?
We got too into it, and it was really tough.
It turned out that the foolish husband and son spent so much money at nightclubs that they ended up broke. Come to think of it, I had been feeling distant lately, and even when I tried to hold hands, I was rejected. They must have been fawning over young girls, giving them lots of gifts. The thought of a 45-year-old man engaging in such behavior with young and beautiful girls disgusted me. Moreover, it wasn't just a simple employee-customer relationship. They had developed romantic feelings and were doing various things outside the club. Astonishingly, both the husband and son had impregnated their favorite girls. It seemed that they had to earn money for hospitalization and child support, leading them to the idea of a fraudulent business. At this point, I couldn't help but think that their heads were in the clouds, and they must be exceptionally happy. I was disgusted with my husband and son, who confessed everything.
You idiots. What the hell have you done? You're no longer my son. Don't be so mad. I didn't do anything wrong. Remy is to blame for neglecting us and always working.
What?
You always say you're working, leaving the house late at night, right? That's why I got fed up.
But, didn't you marry me knowing I'm a surgeon? I'm working hard for the family and the patients. It's terrible. You probably knew I wouldn't be able to go mountain climbing because I've been busy with surgeries lately. Did you foresee from the beginning that I wouldn't be able to go?
Oh, yeah. I invited you just in case, trying to hide it from you. Well, it's not mountain climbing, though. You're always busy with work. Yeah, you don't care about us.
Wait a minute. You're the one who repeated a year and dares to say such things. I'm the one paying your extra tuition.
So what?
I won't pay the tuition anymore. If you want to graduate from college, figure it out yourself.
No, don't do that.
Don't come to me only when you need money. Ask your dad, then.
I can't. I got fired from the company.
What?
Actually, I was accused of harassing a young female employee, and I got fired.
Another shocking revelation came out. This foolish husband had already been fired from his job. So that's why he could stay overseas for an extended period without any worries. Spending money recklessly at nightclubs, impregnating girls, getting fired from work for harassment, it was giving me a headache. How could someone make such foolish decisions? This statement angered my mother-in-law, and things took a turn for the worse. She scolded my husband loudly and began packing his belongings in their bedroom. You're already dumped by Remy. Live around here or something? Idiot.
Wait, Mom, what are you doing?
I'm organizing your stuff. Can't you see? Look, is this fine?
Wait.
EW, you were going to such places. Disgusting.
Stop it.
You scumbag. You won't be allowed in our home again. Disappear from our sight.
That's right, kneel down and apologize to Remy first. Then never show yourself in front of us again. W8.
Kashik, apologize too.
Come on, Granny.
Stop whining and kneel down. Thus, my husband and son knelt down facing me. They were sobbing, and it felt as if I were bullying them, which I disliked. I loved my husband, and I had taken care of my son. However, it was true that I couldn't give them much attention due to my busy job. But that didn't justify their criminal actions. I might have some points to reflect on, but I couldn't forgive my husband and son for committing crimes and destroying our family. My husband and son left the house with their belongings. I'm sorry for that time. I was truly out of my mind. No problem.
Sorry for jumping to conclusions. Be happy from now on.
Sure. Well, we'll be going. And so, my in-laws left. I was left alone in the house, wondering what to do next. First, I had to get a divorce from my husband. I didn't think I could rebuild anything with such a husband. After the divorce, I decided to relinquish my role as a parent and let go of my son. If my efforts and love didn't get through to him, then he wasn't worth worrying about. He was already an adult, And at this point, anything I did wouldn't change anything. After the divorce, my ex-husband paid me alimony for his infidelity. Being broke, having impregnated girls, and having lost his job, he borrowed money and gave it to me. My son dropped out of college and became a part-timer. Since he had always hated studying and even repeated a year, I thought it was fine for him not to go. Then, my ex-husband and son were sued for fraud due to their deceptive actions, facing serious charges. I felt a bit sorry for them, considering the substantial amount of the damages, around $100,000. The victims were probably furious, and while it might be wrong to be deceived, the ones taking advantage of goodwill were worse. I was relieved that my friend Isa wasn't fooled. I decided to forget about my ex-husband and son, focusing on being a surgeon. This story may have been quite dramatic, but life goes on. How was this story for you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Well then, let's meet again in the next video.